Your Majesties, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for returning. Trust you and yours are well and you're loving yourself. And just like always, many thanks to all of you for the support you give to the channel. Thank you so much to our channel members, to our anonymous supporters, to all of you, my esteemed subscribers. You loved, celebrated, and appreciated. Botswana ban export of raw diamond. Okay, all minerals to be caught and polished locally. We are not allowing you to come and say, okay, you do not have the manpower, you do not have the technical know-how. Allow us to come and do this job, and we're gonna give you some particular percent. No, Botswana at this point is hot as well. It's hot as well, and I'm happy. Whenever I see this, whenever I hear this, I'm just elated. You can see from my expression. And why do you think I'm always happy when I hear news like this? It's not because I don't like white people. We also need our sovereignty. We also need our sovereignty. Enough is enough. We have been suffering all this way. Can't we also be the one with the power, with the mind, with the, to say, okay, no, you can't do this to us anymore. This is the decision we're making. You have to follow our own decision and dance to our own tune as well, at least once in a while. Okay? So I want to roll in the clip so that we get right into the information, Your Majesties.
This country shouldn't be where it is. This country shouldn't be intact. There's no way. It is unjustifiable. I cannot, by the life in me, understand why we are where we are. I cannot. I refuse to embrace this unpleasant reality. I refuse. I am a persistent objector to this conventional and mundane existence. And yet we are sitting on trillions of dollars of mineral wealth. And it doesn't work. The Washington consensus is absolute nonsense. Don't come to me and tell me government must not get involved in the arena of production. No, I don't care from what school of economics you get it from, Chicago school, whatever. No, it's absolute nonsense. It doesn't work. And it will not work here. So let's try something we may even not know. Because the knowledge economy is an experimental economy.
What you are about to hear is not just a policy change. It's a declaration of war on economic exploitation. It's a rallying cry for every African nation still trapped in the chains of resource extraction. Duma Boko, the new president of Botswana, is not here to play by the old rules. He has again made a bold, historical move, one that places him firmly in the ranks of Africa's revolutionary leaders. And let it be known, Boko is not alone. He is walking the same path as his close friend and fellow visionary, Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. A path that doesn't ask for permission, a path that doesn't beg, a path that reclaims what rightfully belongs to the people. In a thunderous and unapologetic address delivered in the town of Ramotswa, Duma Boko dropped a bombshell that could rewrite Botswana's entire economic future. No diamond will leave this country raw. Every single diamond will be cut and polished here. No copper concentrate will be exported. All of it will be processed in Botswana.
Traoré is doing them. Traoré wakes up, dreams them up. Following morning, he makes a pronouncement. It is law. It is policy. Action follows. And I wake up and I say stuff. They look at me and say, what is this? What is this man talking about? We need to take it through this stage and that stage and put it to tender, float the tender. It takes 2 years, then we evaluate, then there are complaints, and there's an interdict. We wait another 4 years. By that time, you have to go and account to the people, and they remove you. Those who came before me did not fail because they didn't have ideas. They did. Maybe even better ideas. They just didn't implement them. Why? Because perhaps they failed to appreciate that the structures that are in place are not properly suited to the attainment of quick action. So you need to subvert some of these rules and processes unapologetically. And I will do it.
Her Majesties, that was a beautiful one. Like it is said that Duma Boko is, following or adopting Traoré's effect, and you heard from him. He said the country shouldn't be in debt. The same words that echoed from Ibrahim Traoré. Why should Africa be so poor when Africa is so rich? And Duma Bogo is asking today, this country shouldn't be poor. He is saying today, this country shouldn't be poor at all. How can we have all these minerals? How can we have all these natural resources and we are termed as poor? Africa is poor. No, Africa is not poor. Africa is in the state Africa is because of wickedness, greed of world powers, world leaders, the collective West. That is why Africa is in the situation that Africa is in today, Your Majesties. How can you and your own resources, you harvest your resources, they'll tell you it has to pass, you heard what he said, it has to pass through some particular protocol. And before you see yourself achieving that, going through all these processes and then, achieving that which the set goal is, they'll tell you your tenure is over, you need to step down for another person. They bring another person and do the same process with the person. They keep stealing our resources before our eyes every day. And then we're asking ourselves, who is a thief? Who is a thief? A thief is someone who takes something that does not belong to him or her. The resources that Europe and America are taking out of Africa, does it belong to them? No. So are they thieves? Yes. So this is the situation we see ourselves faced, and we are faced with by day. That we do not have any honest, group in the whole of Europe and America when it comes to Africa and her resources. Nobody's honest. The interest is in what can I get? How do I milk out? How do I take out? To enrich my region, to enrich my country. This is always the interest of the people of Europe and America. If we have Duma Bogo today, following the step of the Sahel leaders, these three wise men in the Sahel, then I don't know, the joy had increased for me. You see me every day here smiling. Whenever I come, you see me my albums. I just hope that anyway, that's on a lighter note. But a lot of persons are saying that he is a friend to Ibrahim Traoré. And if we have a friend to Ibrahim Traoré, leading a nation like Botswana that is rich with diamonds, then another nation is gradually cutting off the hold of imperialism, colonialism, and the rest of them. It's something that we should be happy about. That is a joy for me, Your Majesties. We should be happy about it. And there is a lot that keep going on, okay? The former president of Botswana, sometimes you hear him talk, you wouldn't believe that this man was dancing to the tune of, the collective West. You wouldn't believe. He comes out and talk and gives you some assurance. You think that he is strong. You wouldn't know that he's dancing to the tune of some group. If the whole country in the continent can say, okay, there is no more exporting of our resources. We are not exporting anything. In short, why should we even export across the waters when we have our own neighbors? Why should African countries export their resources to Europe and America? When we have ourselves, we can trade with each other. This was what was going on before. This was how our ancestors lived. The barter system. They give this to this region that don't have, and that region give them what they do not have. And our ancestors lived on a very happy life before they met with the evil one or the evil ones. Very happy and simple life. Very rich life. If African countries can regain the power that they have over their resources, do you think that Africa will not be able to manage that which she has? Because a lot of people do not believe in the continent at all anymore because of colonization. All the time their belief is in Europe and America. When it comes to believing in the African country, no, it doesn't happen that way. They don't believe in Africa anymore. So with all this happening, we are hopeful that there will be a time when the yoke will be broken totally. It will be broken. We will come back, we will stand on our feet, and then we will do that which we have to do for ourselves as the African people. And it is painful, even though we are happy, it's a thing of joy, it is still painful that it is little countries, smaller countries that are seen, that are seen clearly, that the veil has been lifted from their eyes. It is smaller countries in Africa that have their veil lifted from their eyes, and they can now see well. The bigger countries are still swimming in the oblivion. I don't know. They are still swimming, They are still living in the illusion. They have not woken up yet. But I believe that this wind of change that is beginning to go different places and the effect is seen in different ways would also affect these bigger nations with this veil that still covers their faces.
Coups d'etat are not done because we want them. It's this way of seeing things that needs to change. You agree with me that having these states in crisis to carry out a coup d'etat and take responsibility is very burdensome. But if we do it, it's because we have a desire to lead our people towards a certain sovereignty, because we know the origin of this crisis. And I think we should be supported. People are proud to cite that there are so many millions of displaced people in those regions. But what are you doing to help them? Nothing.
Do you feel that the military is more likely to solve these problems than politicians, civilians? Is that your feeling?
Anyone could do it.
But how do you explain that it's the military who are taking charge and saying we don't want civilians anymore?
No, the military didn't say we don't want civilians anymore. It's out of a sense of patriotism. When the nation is in peril, at some point, important decisions must be made. If it happens that it was the military who had the courage to make this decision, well, that's how it is. In any case, whether civilians or military, we are all children of this country. And anyone who is driven by this feeling of being able to liberate their country could do it. So, it's not a question of being military. Elsewhere, the military has succeeded. And here too, the military can indeed succeed.
So, Mr. President, what do you say to the ECOWAS leaders who say they are leaving because we said we don't want coup leaders among us?
There are many coup leaders among them. So it's not a question of coup leaders, it's just a facade.
When you say coup leaders, do you mean civilian coup leaders?
There are military coup leaders within ECOWAS, who today claim to be Democrats. And there are civilians too. There are worse than coup leaders. There are those who kill, who silence their people in silence. ECOWAS turns a blind eye, a deaf ear. There are plenty of coup leaders within ECOWAS.
So Mr. President says, okay, we are leaving ECOWAS with immediate effect. Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. We are leaving with immediate effect. Mr. President, this concerns a lot of people. What about the movement of people, your populations who are in an ECOWAS country, that you are leaving overnight? How is this going to happen exactly? Because the texts say it's over now.
Yes. First you say the texts say, but they themselves have never respected their texts. It depends on who you are dealing with. That's what we have noticed. The sanctions imposed on Niger, they don't exist anywhere in the texts. So the first ones to violate these texts are these so-called Democrats. We are leaving, but we remain Pan-African. Anyone in Africa, an African who wants to come to Burkina, is welcome in their home, in principle.
But in the opposite direction, it's going to be complicated. Someone who is within the AES, we will talk about the AES in a moment. Someone who is within the AES, we can tell them they can no longer go to Burkina, they can no longer go to Côte d'Ivoire, they can no longer go to Ghana. it becomes a bit more complicated for those who do their business there.
We will see, and we will know what measures to take at an appropriate time.
Is this departure from ECOWAS well thought out, Mr. President?
Of course, very well thought out.
It's not a whim. It's not out of anger.
If it were out of anger, we would have done it a long time ago. I think we took the time to analyze the situation, to weigh many things, and finally, to decide. So, if it were a whim from the very first moments of certain sanctions, the people have been quite resilient, it must be said. They have suffered. So, during that time, we could have decided in anger. Now, we have taken the time to observe, to analyze the situation, and to convince ourselves of our strengths before deciding.
And you took everyone by surprise. Another element in this, let's say, this new way of shaping West Africa, the AES, the Alliance of Sahel States. Mr. President, is the AES viable? On paper, it's very, very appealing, but is it viable?
You know very well that it is more than viable. You know, for a long time, our people have been kept in a certain philosophy, always making us believe that we can't do anything without others. Today, our mission is to awaken consciousness. You are doing it very well, by the way.
Yes.
I appreciate it a lot. We need to awaken consciousness for the youth to realize what they have at home. An organization like this, you first need to realize its strengths, weigh its weaknesses, and after this analysis, you decide. The AES is very viable. Whether in terms of
the economies, Mr. President, if I may, these are economies that are very integrated. You produce the same thing, you do exactly the same thing. Who will sell to whom? How is it going to trade? And what do we do about the fact that these are not countries with at least an opening to the sea?
I'm going to see you in my next one. Until then, love yourself, love others. Stay safe, stay positive, always, Your Majesties. Bye for now.